Something that I started doing a couple years ago is with highly figured wood and certain woods, particularly the Brazilian rosewood that I get these days, and things like figured mahogany that has a lot of figure and grain, maybe some swirly figure to it. Woods that have like any crotch type of figure to it. Also really highly swirly grain, Indian rosewood, and those kind of species of woods. My experience, I'd also like to add cataloche and wengi to that list. But my experience with those woods is that a year and sometimes even just a couple months after finishing it, you start getting little micro cracks or cracks along the figuring lines show up underneath the finish. And it's very disappointing. So what I started doing is using a product called a epoxy penetrating sealer as the first coat over the bare wood. And the stuff that I get is made by Smith's. It's this stuff right here. It's sold as a two-part liquid formula, part A and part B. I have the cold weather formula that I'm using now because it's kind of cold now, but they have different weather formulas that you can use. It's very simple to use. It's just a 1-to-1 mix. I mix it in a mixing cup like this, and then I just apply it with a paper towel that's wadded up. So let me show you how I apply it. First of all, wear a mask when using this stuff. Solvents are very similar to lacquer or lacquer thinner. I take a wadded up piece of paper towel and just wipe it like this. Hopefully we'll be able to see this. Just as simple as that. Do the back and the sides just a couple times and you're good to go. I don't protect the top. I just keep the pad away from it. You don't want to get this stuff on the spruce. Now, a word of warning. If you're working with cocobolo, you're going to smear the color that's in cocobolo onto any white purfling or any sort of areas where you don't want that kind of orange cocobolo color. Seal your cocobolo first with some sort of sealer before applying the epoxy. With lacquer, if you're doing a lacquer finish, I'd probably use vinyl sealer, or with most of my finishes these days, which are polyurethane, I would use an isolante or an isolating sealer, which is a two-part polyurethane mixture. That way it shouldn't bleed over. So be very careful with cocobolo. But as I said, this is a really good technique to use on woods that are highly figured or woods that just are kind of squirrely in terms of their grain. A lot of the Brazilian that you get these days is what we call stump wood. And it's the wood that was left below the initial cutting at about 3 feet many, many years ago. And the stump wood is usually very dense and highly figured, so I would definitely do it on that. So I've got these two Brazilian guitars in the shop, in the finishing room, and the first thing I do before I start finishing is apply a couple coats of the Smith's Clear Epoxy Penetrating Sealer. You can go to their website for more information on it or to buy it. See you later.